last two fights on the prelims. We've got Court McGee versus Claudio Silva. Unanimous decision for Court McGee. Dominant performance. The striking was pretty even, back and forth. Good fight standing up. But Court was more or less able to get the takedowns at will, and once he had top control, he was kind of able to do what he wanted. Claudio, I think, shot for one takedown, wasn't able to get it. And yeah, all around, fairly dominant performance by Court. One-sided fight. Good to see. He's a guy that's been around forever. He's been in the UFC since 2010. I remember right around when I started watching, which I think was 2012, was when everyone thought he was going to be the next big thing. And then unfortunately never became that. He actually has a win over Robert Whittaker. And a lot of his losses aren't to bad guys. Like, he's lost to, like, Condit, Diego Lima, Ben Saunders. Like, he is not losing to bad guys, but he lost to Jeremy Horn early in his career, who's, an old school legend. But yeah, it was just really good to see him get a win again, especially such a dominant performance. He was on a 3-fight losing streak. He was 5-1 in his last 6. So, really, really needed that win. And honestly, he's still in a tough position. He needs to piece together a couple of wins here because, at one point he was 14-1. And going into the last fight, he was 19-10. So he'd gone 5-9 in his last 13 fights, which does not fare well. And then, yeah, obviously, Ben Rothwell versus Chris Barnett. Very one-sided fight. Chris Barnett, way too small for the division. Yes, he's 265 pounds, but he's about 5'9". And you could see the size difference, just an absolute mauling on the feet. And then once he got him to the ground, it was even more one-sided. Barnett comes from a Taekwondo background, and I honestly don't know how he has such a good record at his size. He must be fighting a lot of guys that really, really can't fight because, at 5'9", like, he is a very exciting fighter. Quite athletic for his size, too. Can honestly get a lot of crazy stuff. He might have been just fighting smaller heavyweights. That might have been what he was doing. Or just really out of shape guys. But yeah, I'd like to see him at 205. But again, that's like 60 pounds to cut. But get a diet, get in shape. He could probably shed a lot of that weight off and make a good run at 205, but way too small for 265. Just dominant performance by Rothwell. And yeah, I'd like to see Rothwell fight somebody high ranked again. For some reason, they don't have him considered a top 15 heavyweight. I don't get that. The guy's been around forever. He's beat some of the top guys. He has a win over Overeem, who they still had in a top 15 when they cut him. He has a win over Barnett, who they had ranked top 15 when they cut him. Struve, who was top 15 when they cut him. He's beat a lot of guys that were recently were recently top 15. He's beat them, some of them even recently, and for some reason they just don't have him as a top 15. He's really only lost to Tybura and Ivonov, which I guess are bottom end top 15 guys. Maybe that's why they have him so underrated. But yeah, some of those guys, I feel like a lot of the guys in the top 15 he could beat. So I'd like to see him get a top 15 fight again, work his way back up. Just all in all, impressive.